my sales in terms of the numbers have gone up and never came down in terms of like I was able to double up, make it triple or even 5 times selling to my customers. What were the mistakes I used to make as photographers in my younger days that held me back in terms of spiking my sales? But I'm going to share with you exactly what I did, what were the changes I made. And in fact, there were 3 changes or 3 mistakes I used to make. And after I corrected all these 3 mistakes, basically, I made huge differences in my sales. Basically, after all, my sales in terms of the numbers have gone up and never came down in terms of like I was able to double up, make it triple or even 5 times selling to my customers. So what were the mistakes I used to make and what have I made in terms of correcting it, and that allowed me to see some results. So a lot of us actually, as photographers today, we like convenience, especially with technologies today. Technology allows us to enjoy a lot of conveniences that we used not to have, right, in a way. So, however, sometimes this kind of technology convenience might not be necessarily benefiting us as photographers. So one of the biggest mistakes I used to make last time when I was much younger was that I thought, all right, so I thought that I should have given my customers convenience so that they will be able to access photos, to choose the photos online. So because of that, I subscribed to some of the software programs online so that after having sessions, I filtered photos and I was able to upload these photos online. So my customers will be able to enjoy their photos at home, choose the photos at home at their convenience. So that's what I used to think. But in fact, what was the result because of doing this? Well, as a result, honestly, my sales was slow. I got really very slow reply from them. The reason was because basically when you have sent this link to them, they may or may not. However, most likely they will always come back to you very late. Sometimes could be as late as one month later, or sometimes even 6 months later, I was still chasing after them for the confirmation of the photos. The reason was very simple, because they took this convenience for granted. So basically, they have this mindset thinking about that, oh, I have this link to access anytime. So there's no rush for me to decide. I could slowly enjoy the photos first, deciding which one I want before I give confirmation. So that is the very first mistake I used to make. And some of them even thought that I should wait for my loved one, my partner, to come home. Then we will choose together in front of the computer. However, some partners are really busy with their work. So it was really hard for them to allocate sufficient time to stay together to choose photos. So I used to send emails after emails, phone calls after phone calls, even messaging to remind them that, hey, your selection is overdue. Could you please give me your final selections at the end of the day? So if I keep rushing them, number one, they probably will feel frustrated. They feel annoyed because of my constant reminder. That's number one. And they probably would think that I don't know what to choose because I was not able to be with them, next to them, to give them advice, which is good, which is more sufficient, and so on. If I would to be stay with them, I would be able to give them better advice in terms of what sizes they should go for, how many they should go for. Should all these photos go into an album, or should they go into a larger print? Should they go for some fine art prints, or should they go into a print like canvas and so on? Because they were choosing in front of computer system. They have no idea what sizes they should go choose. And normally and usually what I experienced was that They will just give you a very minimal selections that would unable to help you to earn much more revenue from it. So that is one of the biggest mistakes. So what should we do if that's the case? So I immediately changed my strategy to invite them, to meet them face to face, to I allocate sometimes to make a point that to meet them face to face, to choose photos. So I will be able to help them, to guide them to choose the most relevant, the most suitable photos that they want to display at home, or they want to put in the album and so on. So that is rather important that we have to meet them in person. So in-person sales, or we call it IPS, is rather a breakthrough, the first breakthrough that I used to experience in terms of giving me a good starter in terms of results. So that was the first thing that I used to make. That was the first mistake that I committed. At the same time, when I was a much younger photographer, in fact, today I still see a lot of photographers are doing the same. Unless you're in commercial, unless your photos will be used for other purposes, for commercial, like websites or for printings and so on, then perhaps you may go for digital. However, if you are not in commercial for products and so on, I would advise that do not sell digital files. So my mistake was that I used to sell digital files I was feeling truly horrible about what was going on with my sales. And it's like after they choose 10, 15 photos and my revenue was still very little. So how should I go for breakthrough? So it is rather very important that we think the other side. So digital, if you think about digital, so once you pass down the digital files, you are actually putting a lot of money on the table. You are leaving the money on the table and you are leaving a lot of opportunities. Imagine digital files is the top secrets, or I won't say top secrets, but it's your top recipe. It's your work, it's your hard work of experience and experiences over the years that you were able to create really attractive, nice pictures that they really love. But once you give everything to them, basically you are leaving a lot of opportunities on the table. That's where they don't value you much as well. So what do I mean by that? So imagine you are passing down the digital files by emails or even a USB thumb drive. My experience was that maybe 6 months, 1 year, or even 2 years later, they'll call you and say, hey, Mr. Photographer, do you remember I used to take photos with you? And the thing is that I lost all the photos. Can you please resend to me? And this happened a lot of times if you sell digital files. Why? That's because when you pass them digital files, you are passing them something that is intangible. They can't see, they can't feel, they can't touch ownership of these photos, and of course, they will not be able to feel proud of themselves. So that is the problem when you send something that is intangible. You sell something that is intangible to your customers. They can't touch, they can't feel, and so on. Because of that, because everything is in the system, everything is uploaded through emails or through cloud-based storage, I bet most of the time, they'll only perhaps take up the photos, open the photos once, twice, or maybe thrice, just to look at the photos, appreciate them for that few times. Then after that, they probably will put them away. Well, some photographers may argue that, oh, they may use these digital files to send to the lab for printing, and that is even worse because that is where the money will be wasted. The chances of earning more revenue will be gone. All right, so what do I mean by that? Imagine if this person have gotten all the digital files from you and he prints everything from the lab. The lab is the one who earns more money than you. But if you hold the exclusivity of their digital files. Do not release the full resolutions, and whatever orders that they need to make, they'll come to you. They have to order through you, and that's where we make more revenue. We earn more revenue through the prints. So if everything goes to them, they have all the control within themselves, and they can print multiple, as many as they want. So my advice to all photographers here is stop selling digital, and you can't command high prices with digital anyway. Stop selling digital and look into print itself. So this is the second mistake I made. Last but not least, and it is something that we have to work out from ourselves. It's something like a breakthrough that we need to overcome, for me at least. And that was the third mistake I used to make, was that I was very shy about telling my prices. I was very shy about quoting the real rates, the real price to my customers. So, however, if you are very shy, if you were skeptical about telling your real prices, your ideal prices that you want to sell this photo, your customers could feel it. Once your customers felt that, perhaps they are skeptical as well. They will be skeptical about your products, your personality, the trust, and so on. And that's where they will hold back with major decisions in buying more photos from you. But if you are confident telling them about your price because you value your work, because you know that your work is different, because you are confident with your work, because you know that they will love your photos, because you use quality products, let them know the value of the photo, of the prints, of the albums that they are going to get from you. And in fact, prepare yourself with some samples. For example, some of these folio box, or maybe some albums, anything that you can show them as sample, so that they can feel it, they can touch it, they can look at the prints, the details, the quality, and so on, that you are able to deliver them some expectation. That means they will have some expectation from you. They know that what kind of quality they are receiving from you, and they know that with everything that you have been working hard to create such an album is worth the money because you're professional and they respect you. So I hope these three simple things, in fact, these are the mistakes I used to make in the past. I hope all these things will be able to help you to transform yourselves. Learn from my mistakes, and I hope that there could be a valuable lesson. So we will be able to spike up. We will be able to have a breakthrough in our sales after the sessions to make it double, triple, even 5 times. I wish you well, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel, come back more often to this group, so I will have more ideas. I can provide you more ideas about marketing and sales in photography business. Till then, I catch up with you.